Hi, my name is Debbie, and I'm currently tapering off of Klonopin. If you're at all interested in my story, it's in my first video on controlling your thoughts. So today's video is on things I miss, which probably seems a little bit negative compared to my other videos. And normally I don't like to ruminate on the nastiness of this process, but you know, this video will also kind of serve as a reminder of, not just the things that I took for granted prior to benzos, but also the things that I'm going to really, really look forward to once I am past this process. So that's my positive spin on today's video. So, I'm going to list again the things that I really miss in no particular order. Um, and the first one is I seriously miss not having to have to take chronic notes all the time because I have a memory of like a titmouse. So if I don't write things down and use tons of sticky notes, I'm not even sure I could get through my day. So as usual, I have a whole bunch of notes over here that I'm going to have to refer to. And also, if you've watched my other videos, you will possibly notice that every single name that I referenced, scientists, researchers, motivational speakers, I'm pretty sure I mispronounced every single one of their names. So I really miss just coherent thoughts and being able to speak coherently, which leads me into the other thing that I really miss, which is having conversations with people. I have a really hard time focusing during a conversation. Um, and if I find out that I'm talking too much, I actually get really dizzy. So I spend a lot of time asking questions so the other person can talk. But, even then, it just seems like I have a hard time following a conversation. And so I have a tendency to try to avoid them, which means, I avoid people. And to the extent that I haven't been on a date in 4 years. From the time I started benzos, and then the last 2 years that I've been tapering, because it's such a chore just to take care of myself and my business, let alone having the energy to engage in any kind of a relationship. So I miss that. Sometimes I feel like if I had a husband or a boyfriend that I could lean on, that would be really nice because honestly, there are days where I don't want to cook. My apartment is just a shit show half the time because I don't feel like cleaning. Laundry's always piled up. So I miss not having someone to lean on, but then again, when I come home after working, I also don't have to talk to anybody or engage in taking care of someone else's needs because, again, I'm barely able to take care of my own. Um, so, along with all of that, I miss the ability to make commitments. When people are having parties or dinners or get togethers, any kind of social gathering, and I get invited to them. Um, I just, I've learned to just not even commit to anything because honestly, I don't know how I'm going to feel when that day rolls around. I mean, let alone how I'm going to feel 5 minutes from now. So I know that I've probably built this awful reputation amongst friends and family that I'm just really wishy-washy. Um, but I'd rather not make a commitment than commit to something and then have to break it. Um, so I miss people. This is such a lonely process. You feel so incredibly isolated. In the beginning, I sent videos and printed out all kinds of material on benzo withdrawal, and I gave it to all my friends and family. But that was 2 years ago, and there's too many people that will ask me, well, are you all done? And when I'm like, no, not yet, they give me that weird look like, well, what's wrong with you? So that's just a whole conversation that I have just ceased to have with anybody anymore. So that leads me to the other thing that I really miss, which is, I guess, being genuine. Because right now I feel like I have to pretend to be okay, um, when a lot of times I'm just really not. But I don't want to get into that story. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to deal with the weird looks or the weird questions. So, and there you go. You're isolating yourself. It's kind of a, self isolation. So, um, I miss that. Um, So I miss driving. Um, I am super lucky because I live in a super small town. It's got like 800 people in it. We have maybe four stop signs, no stoplights. So driving's really easy around town. And there's a Walmart that's like 15 miles away, which is fine because it's all very rural. The problem is that if I want to go to a good grocery store or I want to do any kind of normal shopping, I've got to drive, 75 miles um, to the next biggest town. And as soon as I get in traffic, um, or I get around a lot of crowds, I get super anxious. Plus, on the way to the larger town, there's this really high bridge that puts me in a panic every time I cross it. My brain seems to think that my car is just going to spontaneously come to life and drive itself like right over the edge, which of course makes absolutely no sense, but that's, my weird benzo brain. Um, so I've learned to do a lot of shopping on Amazon, and just kind of deal with that. So I miss that, and that falls into that isolation thing because I have a lot of friends and family that are within 75 to 100 miles, and I just do not go and visit them anymore, and um, I miss it. Again, I miss those connections. But the driving just becomes so exhausting and so anxiety ridden that it just doesn't make it worth it. Um, Sleep, um, you know, that's kind of a weird thing for me. I'll get bouts of insomnia, which, yeah, sucks super bad. I feel like I'm pretty lucky. I sleep pretty decent most of the time. By the way, I'm doing this because I have a really bad muscle cramp here. Um, and so, yeah, I miss not having muscle cramps. Anyway, back to sleep. So I feel like I'm pretty lucky. I sleep decent a lot of the time. However, I am plagued with really bizarre dreams. And so even though I might sleep, 6, 7, 8 hours, I wake up and I'm exhausted because I've been on some crazy ass adventure in my dream or, had zombies chasing me or some other weird thing like that. So I miss just peaceful sleep. Um, I miss balance. I get bouts of vertigo really bad. I've picked up this weird new habit. If I'm standing in my shop talking to a customer, what I found is that I'm doing this. And makes me feel like one of those autistic children that, is either banging their head on a wall or rocking. But now I get it because it's actually kind of calming. If I just stand completely still, I tend to get more dizzy. So, like, that makes no sense at all. But, I miss the balance. Getting up on a ladder is really frightening. I keep thinking I'm going to fall off. If I turn around too fast or if I do anything too fast, I totally lose my sense of balance. Um, One of the things that I really miss is not carting around. So I'm doing a water titration and I dose 4 times a day. And so I have my little dose bottles here with my mixture in it. And then, of course, if I'm going anywhere for longer than a day, I have to cart around my bottles and my little measuring thing and my syringe and my bottles. And I mean, it's just ridiculous. The things that I have to cart around. Um, and I've just become super paranoid about forgetting them. Um, I went and visited my daughter last week, and I was gone for a few days. And it's like, you know what? I could forget my toothbrush, my clothes, everything. But by God, I make sure that I've got my benzos. Um, and, even in the beginning of the day when I'm leaving for work, I check my purse, I swear to God, 10 times to make sure that I have all my doses in my purse, because I'm mortified that I'm going to get someplace and I won't have um, my dose or doses, or something will happen that will keep me from being able to get home and get my doses. Um, I mean, I have a compartment in my purse where I actually carry a little plastic bag with some pills just in case. And for a while, I finally stopped doing it because I just felt like it was absolutely ridiculous. I actually bought this necklace with this little thing that looked like, I don't know, like a pill that you could unscrew and put stuff in it. And I actually shoved some pills into that. And I wore that for a while. And I just went, no, that's absolutely ridiculous. So at least I've stopped doing that. Um, you know, and I miss not having to look at my watch or look at a clock. I swear to God, it's like every 20 minutes going, when's my next dose? Am I close to my next dose? And my whole life revolves around my next dose. And I'm so looking forward to the day when um, I can just get up and go about my day with no bottles and syringes and pills and even thinking about it. That for me is going to be a super glorious day. Um, I miss food. Um, I know there's other videos on the internet that talk about food, and it's all very individual. There's another guy on here named JD. He did a really great video on the keto diet, and he actually explains why the keto diet might possibly be really good for benzo withdrawal. It just has to do with how the keto diet seems to lower that glutamate, which is the stuff that we have too much of. So I try to follow it as closely as I can. And I have definitely learned that certain foods are a huge trigger in my withdrawals. Sugar is absolutely a nightmare for me. White bread, carbs in general. I mean, there's good carbs and bad carbs, but the bad carbs are really bad. So, I pretty much eat the same stuff all the time, and I am like bored to death with my diet. You know, every now and then I just will have a donut because it's like I can't stand it anymore, and then I have to pay the price for it, and that makes me sad. I mean, I would love to just sit down and have a big giant ribeye and a big old baked potato that's just drowned in sour cream and butter and bacon bits, and then have a giant piece of pecan pie with melted ice cream on it. But holy crap, if I did that, seriously, I would have either screaming diarrhea for hours along with, stomach cramps, or I'd bloat up like a Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade balloon for a week. Um, so I miss food. Um, I miss the feeling that I'm not going to have like a total and complete psychotic break. Um, which, I've been tapering for 2 years and I've not even come close. I mean, I've had some breakdowns where I've started crying, or I've gotten kind of mean and bitchy, or I felt like super shitty, but, not to the point where my brain tries to convince me that, I'm just gonna, out of nowhere, totally and completely lose it. They're gonna have to come and put me in a straitjacket and like haul me off. Um, and or, that I'm gonna die of some awful, horrible disease because my brain's always telling me that it's not benzo withdrawal, it's really, a tumor, or something else. Um, huh. I miss giving a shit about anything other than just getting through my day. The apathy for me, creates a lot of depression because I've always been a person that's really creative and, likes to be doing things that I feel passionate about. And that's just gone. I mean, my creativity is just so watered down. It's such a chore, when I've got to try to come up with, some kind of advertisement or, a display or something for my gift shop. Um, and, um, it just, it's just so hard to not care. I mean, I care clearly, but yet I don't. I mean, it just seems to take so much energy to care about stuff. Although the flip side to that is, sometimes I'm obsessing about stuff and I seem to care about the stuff I'm obsessing about. So, that's kind of a double-edged sword there. Um, but yeah, I just miss thinking constantly about getting through the day, getting through the day, getting through the day. And I miss the lack of energy. Regardless that I seem to be sleeping, halfway decent, the fatigue, is just crushing, a lot of the time. And so, like I said, there's just a lot of apathy, which leads kind of to depression, which just leads to fatigue. So it's just a big ugly loop. Um, I miss being normal, whatever the hell that means, at this point in time. Um, but again, I feel like I walk through my day, just really disjointed. The derealization, is just weird. I don't like it. I feel like I'm an alien or I'm, floating outside of my body. I just feel so disconnected. I don't feel like a human being, sometimes. And so I'm really looking forward to, being normal again, and just rediscovering what that is exactly. Um, I miss not feeling like a vampire. And what I mean by that is bright lights are awful. Seriously, if I go out into the sunlight, I feel like my retinas are either going to burn or I'm just going to be reduced to ashes. So, I'm wearing sunglasses all the time. I prefer my apartment being dark. My gift shop, thank God, it's a big old building, and so the lighting in it is not very good in there, which is kind of a blessing. But it's just, I mean, I feel like I'm turning into a bat because I avoid light. So I'm really looking forward to being able to go out into the sunshine and actually enjoy it. So again, those are some of the things that I miss. Um, but again, I'm so looking forward to getting all of that back. And I know that, as I've said in my other videos, when I get past this, oh my God, life is going to be such an amazing gift. Just the simple things are going to be absolutely blissful. So, if you would like to, please feel free to leave a comment below the video on what you miss. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, again, I've created some playlists with some things that might be helpful for you. And again, I'm just going to leave you with the idea that, yes, we are going to get past this because there are way too many people that have. And we're going to do it too. Um, we made it this far. Good God. I mean, that means a lot. We are so much stronger than we ever in a million years believed that we could ever be. So we're getting there every day, every single day that we get through is a step forward. So I wish you peace, joy, healing, and love. Thank you so much.